When I was entering adulthood, an older lady once told me that you absolutely need to have a solid group of girlfriends that are very good friends in order to have a successful life. And at the time I didn't, and I later naturally developed these wonderful female friendships. I'm so glad I did. But when you're navigating friendship, I think this channel dedicated to health and mental health and fitness, but right now we're going to talk about the mental health aspect of having solid friendships. And you got to navigate the red and green flags. That's what we're going to talk about today. How to make sure that this friend actually has your back and that you guys can be more successful and powerful together. Cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
It's Tara Kurtz joining the show again to discuss. Tara has a list. Let's look at it.
I do. I like to write lists. I like to get my thoughts together. And I like to, because sometimes I'll speak about things and I'll be like, oh, I should have touched on that point. So that's kind of why I like to do my list.
Totally agree. So in the pandemic specifically, I know that I won and lost some friendships.
That is really good.
You like it?
Yeah.
Yes.
She made us mocktails.
Mocktails. These are the Amare Happy Juice supplements again. My favorite mocktail ingredients. I'll link it down below.
It's really good.
Yeah, good for. It's got brain and gut health.
Perfect
items. Okay, so in the pandemic, I won and lost friendships. I feel like the pandemic was kind of a resorting of society.
I remember that time for you.
Yeah, but it happened to everyone. And in friendships, the friendships didn't really, well, when I left my career, I did lose all my career friends. But others kind of came and went. It was just everyone's life was so upended that we all kind of resorted ourselves, I think.
Oh, absolutely. I ended my relationship.
Yeah.
With my son's father during that time.
Oh my gosh.
I feel like a lot of people did that though. They really regathered who they were as a person because they were spending more time with their family and more time with themselves. And you really get to remove a lot of, the hustle and bustle of society, and you really settle down.
So what's the top item on the list?
Top item on.
Are we going green flags first or red flags?
I had more green flags.
Good.
Than I did red flags. So I always try to see the positive in people. That also has hindered me and put me in some very traumatic relationships, friendships, and relationships.
Because toxic people come along and you're like, no, I'm only going to look on their good side.
Of course, because you want to enhance the good in their life, and you want to be the good, and you want to showcase the good that you see in them, right? And you want to really highlight their potential. But just because you want it does not mean that they want it.
Ooh.
And I've had to learn that past 5 years traumatically. In a very good way, though. I'm so happy that I've learned these because now I love my friendships that I have. Like, they're solid. I call them my front row people. They are in the game with me. We're doing life. And we, no matter what, just have each other's best interests at heart. And we're constantly cheering each other on, even if it's a different path. And I feel when somebody is cheering you on, if you're on the same path, if you're not on the same path, that is a very big green flag.
Totally. I would say that was going to be one of my top friendship green flags too, is that you just want, someone who's exuding positive energy around you, not someone who's complaining or talking about their latest trouble. Like, we all do have troubles. And in having good friendships, there's a point where you're able to vent your troubles to each other. But when you first meet the friend, I think if they are immediately talking about negative things, I think that is a red flag.
Yes.
You want someone around you whose mind is on a positive track and is just cheering you on. Actually, this one gay guy I know, he was just an acquaintance to me, but whenever he would talk to me, he was so excited for me about my life and any little success I have. Like, oh my gosh, you're going places. And I was like, wow, he is such a breath of positive air. I was like, you're no longer acquaintance. I'm bringing you into my friendship circle. I need this energy around me. So that is totally one green flag is positive energy. A red flag is when they're negative all the time. What's your next one?
Let's see. Well, I want to touch on this subject on what you just talked about, how he got excited for you. And the thing is when people get, when you walk into a room and your people just get excited to see you and be in your energy, your aura, and know what is currently going on.
Mm-hmm.
And even if they haven't talked to you in a couple weeks or even a month, but they're just excited to be excited for you and what you have done in that time.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that is a really good green flag as well too, is those people that have that genuine excitement on there's no conditions.
Totally.
And let's go back onto my list. So I'll touch on a red flag, and this is a huge one. And I was told this when I was younger, but I didn't believe it until recently.
You didn't listen.
I did not listen. I'm the type of person where I do listen and I'll remember you saying it, but me, I'm like, oh, is it really hot though? Like, so I've just come to terms with who I am. I'm getting better at that though. And so a red flag is when somebody is claiming to have so many best friends. That's my best friend. That's my best friend. That's my best friend. It doesn't really work like that.
I was gonna say I'm known to say that,
but no, you're not
best friend.
No, but you're not though. And okay, so Ivory and I have been friends for how many years now? Like 7,
like since 2018, I think.
Yeah, and so she's really not like that. Now, do you have some really great friendships that are not in the city? Yes, you do. You have, all all your
I have
people.
a lot of the issue is that I've moved all over, so I
There you
make
go.
a best friend and then I leave.
Yeah.
But we stay besties from a distance.
Yeah. Yes, and they're all healthy relationships. I've seen them. I've seen you in those relationships. Those are your front row core people, best friends. But yeah, you're not with them all the time. I'm talking about the person that their best friend, it's switching between different environments. Like you're going to one event, this is her new best friend. You're going to another environment, this is her new best friend. And it's just like constantly flip-flopping and never in the same direction. Or she's never talking about the same tone with the same person. It always kind of changes of what's going on in that moment and where they're at. And so that is a huge red flag for me because there's different like categories we put our people in. I didn't learn that either. I recently learned that. And you have to understand who I call them front row people. Those front row people are the ones that, you can call when you're having a bad day, but then they also help redirect you and you get back, going and accomplishing your goals with those people. And, or, you can not even talk to them for like a week or a month or a couple months. And then you pick up the phone and it's like, you never lost touch.
Yes. I love that.
And those are your like front row people. And then you have your acquaintances where, it's kind of like your colleagues at work. But I think a lot of people get confused with work friends. And I used to work in corporate, I don't anymore. When you go to work, we're all there to do a job, right? Mm-hmm. So you have to remember, number one, you're there to do a job. You're not there to like make friends. And so normally, like you were saying, you left and a lot of your friendships ended when you left Fox, your colleagues and stuff, which it hurts, because I've made some amazing friends and I've adored a lot of people that I've worked with. And, leaving those friendships do hurt. But going back on your front row people, those are very, very distinguished, clearly.
Well, thinking back to those friendships, then you got to look at what are the values of your friends. You want to make sure you're friends with people who have shared values. So shared values is a friendship green flag. And sometimes certain values don't even get discussed until something big comes up, like the pandemic. Oh, why did we get into journalism? Colleagues. We never discussed that. We just assumed we were all on the same page. turns out we were, and then there's a resorting. But um, so shared values is a green flag. Now, if I go back into that work environment that I was in at Fox, the friendships were more like family. It was wonderful. But there was one friend at work that I became friends with. Then I witnessed her being mean to people. This is a friendship red flag. Throwing a jab at another female who is, well, this involved blondes. She was a blonde and she clearly felt threatened by other blondes. So if there was a blonde around, she would find a way to throw a jab into the woman's face and to her back. And I immediately decided to distance myself because while she was being friends with me for the time being, I knew for a fact she was saying something behind my back. And sure enough, she began throwing jabs, but I had already distanced myself. So you want to make sure that you're not friends with people who are mean.
And that goes on something I recently learned in the past 2.5 years. If they're doing it to somebody else, they're going to do it to you.
Exactly.
You have to understand that you are no superior. You have to swallow your ego. You are no better than that person or your neighbor or this other person. If they're treating somebody that way, they will treat you like that, either today, tomorrow, or next year.
Absolutely.
And so I do actually now watch how, when I meet new people, I watch how they treat others, or even if they're kind to somebody in front of other people and then what they do behind their back. That is now how I am categorizing people.
And in the realm of friendship green flags, we can look at mine and your friendship now. When we were like not super close friends for a long time, but you needed a place to stay last year, and I was like, you could stay with me, but we were both going through hard times. You especially, I think, and and
it's a novella.
I was struggling with anxiety issues. I mean, I was not.
It was so bad. I did not want to live alone. Let's just throw that out. And I told her, I was like, it is so bad. I cannot be by myself. And I haven't had a roommate since I was like.
So normally that is a friendship red flag. If someone is in crisis mode, the chances that they will bring turbulence into your life if you bring them into your house is big. And so I was like, I had to weigh this. I was like, I'm already struggling with my own anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
I bring someone in, is this going to be a red flag? But so we talked about it, but it was very clear that Tara was on a mission of self-improvement, which I was as well. So I was like, okay, we discussed it and we're like, we're gonna set our mind on this and this, and we're gonna be positive, and this house is a place of peace. And we just set that mission.
It's standard for the household.
Absolutely, it's a sacred space here, and it worked. So because we had these shared values, so it goes back to shared values.
But we didn't really touch on our shared values. God was very good to us when he was like, y'all do have shared values. We should have talked about that before. But we realized that living together, and then we're like, oh, this is working. And I'm hearing other, because in the past I had, other roommates, and it wasn't terrible or turbulent. Mm-hmm. I'm a Libra. I adjust pretty well to other people, but I wouldn't choose it. And so I would have never seen myself a decade ago going back to having a roommate, except never predicted I would be in a situation of turbulence where I'm like, we need to reevaluate all life. And
but we had touched on things like God and spirituality, and so I knew that
we were aligned that way,
and we were both into health and fitness and better living. We both had these dreams and goals, and that's so important. So some of these basic things, and I knew that the topic of men was a very turbulent issue. Mm-hmm. perhaps for both of us. So it was like that was the issue I discussed clearly. Like, we're going to talk about noble men every day. Nobility, not toxic men.
Mm-hmm.
You know, let's focus on the good. And so, yeah, so that worked. So,
and I feel like it still is working though too, because now, like, from how like flip-flopping life, now there's options of noble men everywhere.
Yeah, well, yeah, that was a year ago almost.
Yeah.
And so much has happened in a positive way. Mm-hmm. So, absolutely, we had a friendship green flag, and that was a blessing. Mm-hmm. Now, a friendship red flag that I had in the pandemic, I lost one of my best friends. When people say that, they think it's because of political difference. It's absolutely not. Shedding best friends was like not a political thing. It was that people's mental health got so unstable.
Yeah. And that happens
for like various reasons. Like, when your life is upended, just your relationships start to get more difficult, and then your mental health and your physical health gets impacted. And this is what happened to some of my friends. And then they start unfriending their friends. So, like, oh, you're not friends with me anymore because of some small thought I had. You're not friends with me anymore. And meanwhile, I'm staying friends with these people. But when you see your bestie unfriending people, you're like, oh boy, what's going on? Well, she's still nice to me, but sure enough, it was only a matter of time that she was mad that I was still friends with this other friend. Mm-hmm. And so that backfired on me big time. Like, she came after me for a mutual friendship. So sometimes mental health issues can be a friendship or red flag, but you want to be there. Like, a part of being good friends is being there for your friend during their mental health.
But not self-sabotaging or self-sacrificing yourself.
Right. But yeah, when they become like really mean to you and they can't even control it, then
you can pull back. So I had a situation where I had to let a friendship go because the last conversation I had with her was like, I cannot be friends with you unless you have a therapist. Like, you need therapy. And I'm not saying that in a mean, malicious way. I had 10 years of therapy. My mother has a PhD in psychology. Like, that was our household. And so I was saying in a very genuine way of, you need to have a therapist before I can continue to be friends with you, because I've done all this internal work on myself to not be unkind and ugly to people when I had traumatic events happen to me. I'm like, why would I allow you to unleash your damage and your problems onto me when I'm doing the work and not doing that to you or anybody I love in my environment? Yeah. And those boundaries are there to protect you, your work that you have done. But yeah, I had to be like, you need a therapist, not me as a friend right now. So, and she chose to just make up stories and go the opposite way of the whole, and it is what it is. And so
that's another, I would say maybe one of the biggest friendship red flags is someone who does malicious gossip. Just know it's a matter of time. I feel like we kind of said this, but it is a matter of time before it comes back on you. Like, they will start making up stories about you. So if you hear them saying wild stories about someone else, maybe distance yourself right away. And if they seem unstable people can come back to hurt you. So
that's facts.
Yes.
We're not there to parent people or mother them.
Right. So I mean, you were in an unstable situation a year ago, but your situation was so different. It was clear that you were handling difficult things with such grace. And
everyone says that, but I'm like,
it wasn't like you were relishing in like talking about the evil situation.
No, I wasn't projecting it. I wasn't trying to unleash it. I wasn't trying to I wasn't trying to put it on other people. That was the one thing I was really dominant with myself about was,
Mhm.
yeah, this stuff is, my struggles are happening to me right now. They are traumatic, but it gives zero excuses of me to then unleash or
Yeah, you had like this personal responsibility about you, which is
Absolutely.
a huge green flag. I want to be around people with personal responsibility. Stop with the blame game and the pity parties.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So in either way, like, and you're gonna be in whatever friendship or relationship size, you're gonna be the villain, the victor, or the victim. And at this point in my life, I'm like, I don't really care where I'm at in your perspective. I am just going to continue to be a good friend and stay on the good path of understanding who I am and what I can bring to the table, and just
victory mindset only.
yes, you know, life is pretty good that way.
Amen. Okay, so let's wrap this up by recapping with our weekly episodes. Let's recap our last episode. How are we doing with our fitness? How are we doing with our fitness briefly?
Mocktail's great.
Hey, we're drinking mocktails. That's
Okay.
homing.
I love what we're doing. So we're kind of mixing it up. We tried Pilates, yoga. Started tennis. Boop.
Yes.
I really do like tennis.
Tennis was so fun. We did a full match together. It was, I think, both of our first full match.
It was. And I was very proud of us because it looks like we have done that before.
I know.
We have not. And I was like, you know what?
Like,
we look like
pretend. Great match.
we are getting by. And I am A-okay. Like, people were kind of like a little like skeptical, but they're like, okay, they played a couple times. Nope, that was our first match, y'all. So,
and it was good cardio. It was like, am I gonna actually get a workout out of this? And I did, and it was a blast. So I think finding fun ways to do fitness can keep you more active.
Yes, like I tried skiing for the first time. I've never skied. I've only snowboarded. But I was like, you know what? Let's try something new. So I jumped right into it, and whew,
Yeah.
it was pretty intense 3 days of skiing. So
as far as diet goes,
diet.
So let me just say, I have been very strict. I've been proud of myself. This sort of meat and veggies diet where I think it's very doable for me. It's very easy for me. So I was stunned when I stepped on the scale and I had reversed. So I dropped pounds real quick, and then some of them came back, and I was like, what is going on?
Was it during your cycle though? Like your hormones?
It
wasn't?
No, okay. It's now I've been in like this plateau, and I'm like, what is going on? But I'm seeing my body actually transform. Like
your muscle.
My abs are like getting defined and stuff. And so I'm like, okay, my body is starting to shrink wrap, but for some reason the scale is not doing its thing. But for like a week there, was really like demotivating. I was like, well, what's going on? And then I have this rule of alcohol only once a week. And I did an online date, and I posted about my first online date.
I am here for this online date. And I just want to say this for the record. She mentioned this guy, and I was like, him. I don't know. It's just everything in me was like, and that's what I'm going to say.
It's the new trend. Maybe we'll discuss in the next episode. But this guy is about alcohol, and I was like, well, I'll have alcohol on the first date. Then he wanted a second date, and I had alcohol.
Yeah, but how much alcohol did y'all drink though?
Not that much, because I have to drive home.
Okay, yeah.
So alcohol on the second date, and then he wants a third date, and I had alcohol on the third date. And I was like, okay, I just had alcohol thrice in a week.
I will be honest,
but it wasn't a lot.
I have been drinking, but like not. But our drinking is like not like everyone else's drinking
because of who you're dating, right? Like alcohol consumption.
Wait, people don't know if I'm dating, single, or married.
Oh crap! My bad. edit.
I'm trying to keep it that way where nobody, like, is she married? Is she dated? Is she single?
Mobby.
Is she engaged? We don't know. No, I don't care. No, yeah.
But for me, like, my alcohol consumption is based on who I date. Like, I go with their lifestyle. When I was dating a guy who didn't touch alcohol, I didn't touch alcohol.
Yeah. No, I'm really enjoying my life.
Good.
Like, it's just a really great time. And I'm not drinking too much though. Like, I'll have Carajillo, which is like an espresso martini, but it's like elevated. It's so delicious. And then, but also when I drink though, I don't drink like what everyone else drinks. I drink whiskey water. I don't drink a bunch of sugary.
So for the dieters, is that like lower calorie and stuff?
It would be because of all of that sugar and the artificial sweeteners and everything are really just not good for your body. So if you're consuming like 4 or 5 of those, and if you're like me, when I drink, I do drink, and I'm just gonna be honest, and that does add up, those 4 or 5 drinks, and so I've always stuck to whiskey and water because of there's no calories in water. Plus, I feel so much better in the mornings because I'm hydrating while drinking. I'm having a great time, but I'm not feeling guilty because there's a balance there. So I'm enjoying myself.
I was laughing earlier because you're talking about like very clean drinks, and my date drink was like the dessertiest of dessert drinks.
What was
it had
it?
like all this cream in it. It was like like an espresso martini, but with like
a diva,
like all the fixins. It was like very desserty.
I thought you're from the north.
But yeah, the South's rubbing off on me. No, I did a martini and then that dessert drink for my first date.
Yeah,
but the alcohol. Well, we can discuss dating in the next episode. But alcohol
is that what we're going to discuss next time?
Our next episode is dating. Now, we are not the experts. We're going to tell you guys what not to do. We're the experts on what not to do. Okay?
No, but seriously,
we've gained a lot of wisdom in our mistakes, though.
And my mother is like completely intrigued with like couples therapy now that she's doing. She calls it her side hustle. And I'm just like, I feel like I believe and I feel that you're professional because of me. Not only because you have your PhD in psychology, but because of what you had to live through with me. And she agreed. No hesitation.
Wow.
You know what?
Her daughter's relationship struggles.
Poor mother. Bless her. And like every part of, oh my gosh, I love her. Yeah. No, that would be great. So, okay.
Yeah. So there's the teaser for next week. Yeah. So I am trying to figure out the right man, but the alcohol consumption may be an issue. We will discuss next week. See you guys then.
Bye.